You guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So first thing you want to do when you get a big candle, fib it out. Leave this fib on your chart so that when you're on lower time frames you can see these potential reversal zones, PRZs, and you can buy and sell accordingly. So no, I don't think we're going to recover immediately. It's going to take at least a week. This is like the biggest dump candle we've seen maybe in a year or more, maybe ever. I haven't really measured it out completely on all the exchanges, but it's definitely pretty big. Next, 5-minute Bitstamp, low time frame. We're hunting for support right now. We bounced off the median line of the pitchfork quite nicely. So this is the pitchfork here, and you can see we're sort of entering the 5-minute cloud, trying to find some sort of buyers right now. We'll see. In China, I had drew in, this is a giraffe, so this is a continuation signal. Whenever you see this, it looks like a boot. It's an actual pattern. I don't actually know the name of it, but we just call it a giraffe. And then I just drew in, so this is a triangled bear flag, usually continuation signal. You can see there's a volume pattern with that as well. Consolidation and RSI's sort of resetting. So let's go through some tweets. This video is going to be called What to Expect When You're Expecting. So I was expecting this to happen. Go watch the last video if you didn't expect this to happen. I'll link that up. So last night I was like, something's up with Stamp. Now, whether or not any of this is actionable, I don't know. It's just worth keeping in mind as sort of intuition is concerned. Their spread was weirder than usual compared to other exchanges. I think it was more than $40 at one point, and they just weren't moving. So that's a sign for future trades to see, if that happens again, if Stamp stops moving, what's going on. My day started by being woken up through whale calls notifications on my phone. If you're not following whale calls, if you don't have a Twitter account, get on that right now and set mobile notifications on for whale calls. That way, when stuff does happen, your phone will blow up and you can act accordingly. And this is what I like to see. Somebody watched the last video. This isn't like me bragging or anything. I'm just glad that somebody didn't lose money. That's good. So I don't really know enough to comment on this completely, but basically, as I understand it, offshore yuan deposits went up, meaning that people were concerned about capital controls, which is basically what they're saying in Zero Hedge. Whether or not that fear spilled into Bitcoin a little bit, I don't know. Something to consider in the future. Something else to look for in the future when you're looking for a top or a toppy type pattern. These are the futures premiums. So you can see at one point we were at $182 above spot on quarterly, which is absurd. Comes out to about 12% or more, probably 14%, something like that. And you can see that as we dropped, we reset to below zero. So that is something to look for when we're sort of hunting for a bottom. Futures will just reset completely, and that's what happened here. So a few more charts to go through showing you, what to look for next time. Again, I posted this. We're nearing the top of the pitchfork. We're nearing yearly pivot and Bitstamp's all-time high. The question you have to ask yourself, do we have momentum to keep going? And certainly there was enough euphoric momentum to keep going, but in reality, I just didn't think it was there. And you can see this is the end result, obviously. You can look at that this is a weekly chart. The other thing I was looking at last night is this chart. Very basic, just trend line with these repeating flags / inverted head and shoulders type deals. And the question was, this was the flag / pennant, whatever you want to call it. And a way to measure that, you just take the base to the top and then the tip of the pennant or flag up. So that's the measured move. So this is what you'd expect, somewhere around 1200. Should it break out upwards? My concern was that we were so far away from this return to mean line that moving upward wasn't highly probable, but moving upward this whole time wasn't exactly probable. This was the end result. So if you were watching this return to mean line and you were in a trade, as far as actionability is concerned, is shorting it worth it? Obviously, in hindsight, it was worth it to short $300 or whatever the drop was. But, if we're here, you'd expect some sort of bounce if we would consolidate further. That didn't happen. We just blew through it. So, I don't really know how anybody wants to play this or how actionable any of this is. And you can see we bounced on this line. Whether or not that means anything, I don't know. What is pretty interesting is the 3 drives chart. Now, since the last video, we clearly busted through the 1.618. So it's pretty interesting that the target, just, probably by chance, I don't know. The target hit pretty much dead on. Now, I said that we'd probably get a fourth wave to make me look like a fool, and we did. And then we hit the target. So again, not actionable maybe, but something to look for in the future. Pretty interesting that it went back to that target though. And then if we look at the daily stamp, people were saying this is the top, this is it, this is the end of the trend. I don't think it's the end. Like I said already, it's going to take a week to come to some sort of equilibrium, but definitely a tweezer top on Bitstamp at least. And what I was looking for as we were dropping was a bounce, a key June bounce on the daily with a bounce on the median line. I noticed that they were both at the same level, so the confluence of support there was pretty big, and I took that trade on one broker. It was up $100 at one point, and then you know, just volatility killed me, along with this stop loss nonsense that really needs to stop on one broker. I understand why and how it's happening. It's just super frustrating, and it makes me really butthurt and upset about it. I should have just held the trade instead of even putting a stop loss on there, because I knew that was support, and I should have just been confident enough to follow through with that. So back to a live chart real quick. I don't expect this trend to stop anytime soon. First of all, people are worried about that. Definitely no threat to the trend as a whole. I do expect RSI to sort of reset around 50. You can see even on this bubble on the drop, we just consolidated back around 50 and then made a decision from there. So you'd expect the same thing here. And the same thing happened on this drop. You know, we consolidated around 50 and then we decided up or down from there. Expect this fractal. You know, this fractal took like 40 days to figure out. Don't expect this, like I said already 4 times, to just bounce back to all-time high levels. And if we run down the time frames, just talking about the cloud here. So you can see we bounced on the 4-hour cloud, which is good. Again, not necessarily actionable. That's why I was looking at the daily. I was looking at the daily because the drop had a ton of momentum, and it really needed to touch the key June again on the daily, which it hadn't forever. Down to the hourly, again, it's flagging. What I really want to see is price back above cloud with the TK, bullish TK cross as far as serious long entry is concerned. Now there's plenty of reasoning for a long entry in this zone on low leverage, just buy and hold situation, but anything big, as far as for me, I would want price back above the cloud. And then 30-minute, same thing. You just want those cloud bullish entry signals to be back before taking any big trades, you know, because this could continue to break down, which I expect it to sort of retest this 900 zone. There isn't a inverted head and shoulders or Adam and Eve situation right now, which is what you'd want to see. It's really just sort of flagging out, trying to figure out what's going on. If I go to futures on 15-minute, this is definitely the target, 1060. You can see how tight this flag's getting. Volume's probably super tight too, yeah. So expect the move soon after. It'll be after this video is released, but that's all I have for now. As usual, guys, like, dislike, comment, subscribe, share, hit me up on Twitter, Telegram, and happy trading.